What's up? Back with another Major Music Lounge podcast. But before we get into the interview, I wanted to shout out today's guest, an artist by the name of Dizzie The Wizard, who I met here in Dallas through my job. We actually connected over both of us doing music. I found out he was an artist. He found out that I was also an artist and I did beats. So I invited him onto the podcast and it was a great interview. But also, Dizzy sent me a couple of things. So first, Dizzy sent me this t-shirt, and you also got his logo here on the back as well. So I really appreciate this. Dizzy also sent me a limited edition of his latest project, Oh What a Strange Place, which you can also listen to the album on all streaming platforms. So go ahead, check that out. But I really appreciate the limited edition. And Dizzy also sent me this sticker, which is the same logo that you saw in the t-shirt. So shout out to Dizzy the Wizard. Now let's go ahead and get into the interview. I'd like to welcome everybody to another edition of the Major Music Lounge podcast, joined by a good friend of mine, Dizzy the Wizard, who's an artist I actually met out here in Dallas recently through my job. And, we connected over just finding out that each other did music. And, I just wanted to have him on to talk about some of the projects he's been working with and, just his journey in creating music. So how's it going today?
I'm going well. Just happy to be here. Thanks for the opportunity.
Oh, no problem, no problem. I know we've been kind of just talking about music for quite some time. And, I had Phantom on the show. I also
Yeah.
had Mikey on the show. So I was like, why not have Dizzy on the show? I want to talk to
Yeah.
Dizzy about what he's doing. So glad to have you on as well.
Yeah. I've just been working. My project just came out. Oh, what a strange place. And it's just a very interesting, I feel like introspective on my view of how the world is created, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I actually you sent the link to me and I finally got a chance to listen to the full EP today actually
Yeah.
while I was working out and I really enjoyed the vibe. And I also watched that video that you had as well for Deep Cleanse.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that. The whole scenery, being outdoors by the fire. It kind of, and I don't know if this is one of your inspirations or not, but I kind of got like some Andre 3000 kind of like vibes from it.
Yeah, I think so. I was even thinking that. I guess when I initially made the record, I wasn't like, oh shit, Andre 3000. But when I was listening back to some parts, I was like, that's giving me like Andre 3000, Outkast type of feel, which I listened to a lot of that music. So maybe it was just the creation coming through and it was inspiration and I didn't even know. So yeah, I most definitely felt that when I listened back to it.
Yeah, yeah, like so we're gonna get more into the video itself.
Okay.
But as far as like your musical journey, how long have you been creating music and who were some of your inspirations, as far as being a songwriter, being an artist? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, yes, I grew up, I was a military kid, but I did most of my education in Wisconsin where I was an art school kid. So, we do music, we train to do acting, dance, and everything. So pretty much I was just pretty a musical theater actor. But when I transferred over to Dallas and we moved here, I kind of shifted all that energy to music, which I'll say I graduated in 2012. So ever since basically like I feel like 2012, I've been pursuing like the rap career of Dizzy the Wizard, but I've always been like a creative musical theater artistic kid.
Yeah, yeah. Do you just write or do you make the beats too?
So my thing is I'll do more writing and just conceptual creating, but along with the beats, I work with a lot of people from Russia, France, and the European places, and they like send me beats. We give inspiration, and we're drawn together by nature. So they're like, "Dang, I just went to the woods," and I'm like, "I just went to the woods. Let's make a song on how we both felt when we went to the woods."
Yeah, yeah. I get like because on one of those tracks, uh I kind of had like a dance techno type vibe to it, but but like you rapped over it. and it was a whole different vibe. I really like that. And then, I listened to some other tracks. I even, I told you a while back the
Yeah,
Galaxitron album, I think
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I listened to that, and that gave me also like a trap vibe too, like a
yeah.
chill trap vibe. But I noticed too, you got kind of like different styles as well. So I do see that as well.
Yeah, I do have a lot of different styles. I feel like damn, it's hard because when I'm working with all like these people from different cultures, I feel like I soak up their culture, and then I'm like doing my African thing, Nigerian thing. But then on top of that, we trying to like make it to where it's digestible. So I'm kind of like I love crossing through different lanes and kind of writing around music that you wouldn't normally think you can write to. I guess we call it witch hop. So it's a mixture of like these elements of spirituality with the hip hop and other kind of thing.
Okay, okay, yeah. And yeah, I could kind of see a lot of that too in the video, in
Yeah.
the Deep Cleanse video. Tell us a little bit about that. Where did you shoot that video?
Dang, that was actually shot at my temple in Dallas, Texas, where I'm at now. Yeah, I've been so grateful to just have a beautiful space, and I've been very intimate with that space and like doing healing work as far as meditation, finding myself. So when they said, "Oh, where do you want to shoot a video?" I was like, "Duh, like my nature preserve." So it's like a sacred land. So I wanted to like share that with the world and let them know, like, just because you live in a city, it's always spaces to kind of like cleanse yourself and go back out into the city.
Yeah, especially I mean in Dallas, even being here as long as I've been here, and I've been here since like '04. I'm
Yeah.
still kind of discovering new parts because it's not all just a whole city, like a city type atmosphere or a metro type atmosphere. You got some other places on the outskirts of the city. A lot of people live, and it's a good place, kind of like you say, that you can recharge, meditate, find peaceful surroundings. So, I
Hmm.
like the whole idea of how you shot that video as well, and just the whole kind of like we talked about at the beginning, the campfire
Yeah.
dance around a campfire. And then the whole nighttime scenery. And then I kind of like how whoever shot the video, they did a really good job also, with the close up shots on your face while
Yeah.
you're rapping and then, the transitions as well. So it was a lot of I thought it was well directed as well. Shout out to your director. Who directed
Then
that?
okay, so I did the directing, I did the costume, I pretty much did everything. I hired the videographers. I mean, I guess that just goes back to like I'm really an actor and a script writer, but like I'm in this body of music right now and expressing myself like this. But yeah, it took me like a month to write the script, and then I was going to different places to kind of like get the feel. I was going to like a lot of ceremonial things to kind of like, soak in the culture of doing a ceremony. Cause that's initially what I did, like a earth ceremony. So really to be the director and to be actually the person in the video was hard because like I found myself playing many different roles and still being focused to shoot. But the two guys that shot it, they were actually local Dallas videographers that I just found along the way that like they were vibey and we talked about it and it took about I say like 3 months of planning and then we was like let's
Wow.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was almost like a mini, like a 3-4 minute movie almost.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, man.
almost like a mushroom trip kind of like to make the mind like Stranger Things almost.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Is that like, do you have any other videos or is that your first one?
I feel like that's the first video for this album. I did two videos. Happen was kind of like my very first video. And then Deep Cleanse was like the video where we was like, yeah, we're gonna try to like put as much oomph into it as possible. So yeah, this is my first time actually doing music videos.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. What like, well, because one of the things that I remember when I first started shooting videos, it just added another layer, like to me as an artist, because it's one thing for people to, hear your album wherever it is, streaming, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever. But it's also another thing for um the listeners and the fans to see a visual,
Yeah,
and they also take you as an artist a little bit more serious, I think, once they
I
see
feel
you
you.
with a visual. How has that helped you, or have you noticed it's helped you kind of like reach a new audience or connect with, a wider fan base?
I feel like most definitely yes, because most people they know the Deep Cleanse song because of the video. So it's just kind of like I guess when I put out Galactatron, we were slated to do like videos, but I kind of like I guess my mind was the budget wasn't matching what I wanted to physically see because it was like experimental and I wanted like green screens and all this stuff. So I kind of was just like, I'd rather not do any videos at all and kind of wait until I can do something more like Deep Cleanse where it's natural, it's doable, we can work it, like we can really use the earth. So I feel like visuals is something I want to do more of, most definitely, because like you say, it gives people a snapshot of who you are as a person, and it has helped me, I feel like, to book shows, to book festivals, because they're seeing like, whoa, like this dude is like really, doing his thing. So
Yeah, yeah. And you mentioned like the whole just booking shows and festivals thing. Have you done any shows recently?
the last show I said I would have done was I've been doing mainly like rehearsing because the last time I did a big festival, I'm not gonna say I wasn't ready, but I'm about like perfecting. So when I go out, like I can give people, the best energy I have. So for the last 6 months, I've been practicing like at a stadium and doing my thing, and we've been recording it. So we just released like those live footages so people can see what the tour is gonna be like.
Yeah.
But yes, but I haven't really been doing any live performances in front of like active audiences until like June 1st.
Okay, all right. Well, hope
Yeah,
to definitely see some footage for that
yeah.
once you get on the stage. Is it gonna be here in Dallas, or are you gonna be traveling?
It's mainly traveling. We might have a couple of shows in Dallas, but it's mainly gonna be Cali. Yeah.
Okay. Are you and now you mentioned Wisconsin, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And you're headed to Cali after this.
Yes, yes,
Okay,
as
all
it is.
right.
But I'm from Wisconsin. I'm a military kid, but like Wisconsin is where I did most of like that growing from like I say elementary to middle school, transitioning to high school.
Okay. All right. And what I always like to ask too, like, yeah, I noticed too, you post a lot to social media as
Yeah,
well, and you got a pretty large following on social media.
yeah.
So yeah, I can definitely tell you've been grinding. But how has, like creating content for social media actually also help you grow your fan base and your following?
I feel like sometimes we be feeling pressure to like get to the most followers or things like that. But I feel like organically just posting stuff that you actually do, and like more me, I see my page as more like an educational, inspirational page. So I feel like you
Yeah.
don't necessarily have to rock with the music to follow me. You could like plants, you could be spiritual, you could like the music, you could just like the photos. So I think social media for me is I want people to follow me that kind of see a reflection of themselves or something that they want to do instead of just trying to get a lot of followers. I want you to be able to relate to me and feel comfortable, like
Yeah.
to hit me up and be like, "What's up? What plan is that?" Like a lot of people are like, "What plan is that? Where you at? Do you do guided hikes?" And I'm like, "Yeah, all that's coming."
Yeah,
So I think
yeah.
it's like it's like a extension of my personality.
Yeah, and that's very important. You definitely want to connect with people that, you're following, you're interacting with on some level, because what I've realized, like even on other social networks, that I may post the same exact thing on another platform, and it doesn't get as much interaction as it
You're
gets
right.
on Instagram or TikTok or even YouTube for that matter. And I also noticed kind of like the demographic that follows me
Hmm.
on each of those platforms, and that could have a lot to do with it as well. So, you definitely want to make sure that you're not necessarily, it's always, yeah, good to grow your following, of course,
Yeah,
but because if you do grow your following, it could also lead to like, other opportunities or making, more money as a creator on some of these
yeah,
platforms. But like, you also don't want to just a lot of people just want to have a lot of followers just to say they got a lot of followers, and there's no
Yeah,
method to the madness or purpose.
you're
Yeah.
right.
What you got on deck as far as I know we're still, well, we're about the halfway mark of 2023, and
Yeah.
you got 6 months left, so I know shows were one of those things. But do you have any other projects planned? Because you released this EP in the first
Yeah.
half, so again, still a
So
lot of time left.
you're right. Yeah, I got actually I'm flipping it. So I say like this EP, Oh What a Strange Place, was like the group of work that was more down to earth, is earthy, is like I like to say it's more like on the psychedelic range, shroomy. So now I'm releasing another project later in the summer and it's called Wanna Be Liquid. And it's more truly experimental house. So more like I say like a LSD trip where it's more futuristic, it's more like Tesla music, it's more like maybe we'll be listening to it 50 years later in like flying cars. And I paired up with a producer from France. So it's gonna be really like poppy and really like a lot of horns, a lot of synths, but then like this deep house element. So I'm excited. And I think that one of the songs on here is called Wanna Be Liquid is like I feel like a commercial song because I'm into like getting my music on like sync licenses, commercials and stuff. So this album, I feel like I mainly wrote it for like commercials and music, and like it's very, I feel like commercial for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I can dig that as well. And I'm kind of glad you went in that direction about
Yeah,
sync and licensing.
yeah.
Uh you got any tracks in there now, like with sync, licensing and publishing?
All my tracks are like I guess you could say published, but I've had one Galactatron was in a commercial, but other than that, that's what I really feel like I would be successful at. But I
Yeah.
just was like, damn, until it hit me, I was like, you make theatrical music, like you need to do more of that. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's something that we kind of get into sometimes on this show. I got
Yeah,
one placement actually myself for a video game called Hustle Kings on
yeah,
PlayStation. And what I always like to talk about is, a lot of creators, they only look at the streaming. They don't look at getting their music in any sync licensing or publishing
hmm
opportunities. And that's always to me kind of like the long-term
yeah,
plan, because even when you're not working, like I know guys that got placements for like the NBA. I know people that got placements for like movies and stuff.
yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to get. That's
hmm
exactly what I'm trying to get. Um, do you do you have a certain place like you might go and you see a opportunity posted? Let's say they're looking for like a song that might have a upbeat dance
hmm
techno vibe, or they may want something that have a trap or a chill vibe.
Yeah.
You go on a like a website, or you have a connect that tells you what type of songs or anything that they're looking for.
See, it's tricky because it's about a lot of like interpersonal relationships. So what I do is I watch a lot of movies of stuff that I think my music was. I'm doing this now, just watching a lot of movies and looking at who is the sound director or like the what is it, sound supervisor. And
Yeah.
I'm trying to get their information and hit them up and be like, yo, I watched this movie. I noticed that my music would fit this here. Here is all the information, the splits, this, and that. And if you want to work with me, hit me back. And that's how I
Yeah.
got that first one. So it's just like doing like that groundwork of like who is make who chooses the music out of this movie, and do you have like all the information together? Because if they say yes, then they say send like the vocals, send the back end, send all of this stuff. You got to be ready because they're ready to close the deal. So I guess I'm just perfecting my skills on having everything together and knowing my splits, and on top of knowing my demographic. But I feel like it is a few sites out there. I'm not sure on the top of my head, but you can go on there and submit, and it's a paid. But I've been having more success with just like doing my research and hitting them up directly. I'm trying to get an agency though, theoretically, to like do that for me so I can just focus on the music because it's hard, like, and sometimes you don't get a reply, you got to keep replying. So,
Yeah, I've had luck like with there's a site called Music X-Ray that I
okay.
go to, And just like you said, they have different opportunities up there. You know, if you want to do publishing in gaming or movies or
Hmm.
television shows or commercials or also there's other like label and production, and there's a ton of
Hmm.
opportunities on there. What's another one? There's Taxi. Now, I personally
Oh,
never dealt with Taxi, but I hear of some people that have dealt with Taxi and gotten opportunities from there. But just like you said, some of the feedback that I got from, what Taxi is like is somebody says they'll submit some music and it'll be a very long time, if at all, they hear
yeah.
back from, the publisher or whatever. So, I mean, just be prepared for that. But
Hmm.
I think, the best thing for especially producers is, you definitely want to take time to craft your sound. But if you're looking to get into these opportunities like for publishing, you also want to be versatile because
Hmm.
I could think off top like Dr. Dre, for example. He did music, of course, it's no mystery. He's done a lot of music for a very long time. But he
Yeah.
also, a lot of his beats appeared in commercials, in movies, and things like that. And, he was just able to pivot. And probably also the fact that, you know, it just is what it is. He's a very popular figure in the music industry, and his sound is very authentic, and a lot of people
Hmm.
know him from that sound. So, of course, Drake gonna get some publishing like that. But
Yeah, you're right.
I only say that to say like, um, you still wanna, and I try to challenge myself sometimes because ultimately I want to get something in movies, in TV
Hmm.
shows, and I want to be able to build from there, again, long term. So, challenge yourself, maybe try to make music out the box that you don't normally make,
You're
and
right.
do your research. I like what you said though, that you look up the music supervisor, and
Yeah.
you do this on LinkedIn, or you go like to Twitter, or
No, I'll go to IBM, like the movie place where all the stuff is, and I'll look there. And sometimes they'll have it there because most music supervisors, they need new music because they like, I need music. But the thing that I run into it as an independent artist is they kind of hesitant because they don't have that relationship. And
yeah,
I guess dealing with labels is like we know that nobody not gonna sue us because everything is clear. So sometimes I have to like, advocate for myself. I have like my copyrights, I have my publishing, I have all my paperwork because if they get sued, and they give me this money and they put it out into the world and it's not properly, they could get sued and that messes up both of our reputations. So
yeah, yeah,
that's why I really want an agency so I can be like, okay, I have somebody representing me and opportunities will flow in. But I know like as an independent it's possible because I've been seeing it, but it's just like a lot of work.
yeah, and just the business side of music in general, like learning like your publishing rights organizations,
Yeah.
BMI and ASCAP and CSAC, and knowing, you talk about percentages, and I really like, that's one of the things that we try to stress here on this podcast, and I
Yeah.
like the fact that you know your shit, man, straight
Yeah,
up.
I
You
don't
know,
want to get sued, because if something could happen tomorrow and I want to make sure everybody gets paid,
yep,
producers, engineers, and I'd rather like, be broke my first year paying everybody off than get sued 50 years down the road for like, you know,
something that you could have made
yeah,
right from day one.
man,
Yeah,
you're right, for day one. Yeah. I always do a contract, because people's emotions sometimes overthrow the moment. So I always be like, before we start working, let's get a contract,
yeah,
just
yeah.
for both of us.
Same thing. It's like even sometimes I'll get somebody and they're like, "Oh man, let me send you these beats, or let
Yeah.
me drop this verse on your project." And I'm just like, I'm cool with it, but at the same time, I'm like, I want to make sure everything is right. You
Yeah.
know, I and some people will be like, "Nah, no, no worries, no worries." And you never know if that song,
Like
takes
get pitched to
off,
the
or
Super Bowl and now they
yeah,
seeing they stuff
whatever.
on the Super Bowl and they want to sue you. Like,
And they want to sue you, said, they had a hand in that. And then you got to go back and try to rectify the situation. And you
yep.
done probably messed up the relationship with that person to begin with.
Hmm.
So, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Um, what so you mentioned you got excuse me,
Yeah.
other plans for projects throughout the remainder of 2023. Is there any other like producers or artists that you would like to work with that you haven't gotten a chance to work with yet?
Dang, I said I want to do more work with Dallas artists because I've never really worked with any. I don't want to say I haven't worked with anybody in Dallas. So I say I'm always open to working with people, but off the top of my head, dang, I feel like I would like to work with. See, it's just like producers. I'm gonna have to take the time to think, but I'm open for more people that I say in Dallas that I can actually physically work with. As opposed to working worldwide, which is cool. So more American stuff. I want to make more like kind of like trappy American music, kind of like feel good music, maybe some pop, but no artists that pop into my head. I know we got to chop it up and make a few
Oh
things,
yeah,
but I'm just like
definitely.
maybe, and I was going to say Erica Badu, but I mean, who don't want to work with Erica
Who don't?
Badu? And Andre
Hey,
3000. I would love like when I like Andre 3000, Big Boy.
yeah, you in
Yeah,
Dallas. You in
yeah,
Dallas. Erica out there for sure.
yeah. That's why I was like Erica Badu.
Man, that's one person. Yeah, like I said, I've been here since '04, but
Yeah.
I've never ran into her ever. Not one
I've
time.
seen her a couple of times, like from a distance.
I ran into a lot of celebrities out here, and
Yeah,
her as she lives in Dallas, and I never ran into her.
yeah, she blend in, she from Dallas, so you don't even
She
know.
do, and
Yeah,
she probably don't get out to go to
yeah,
just regular events. Giving her all she's accomplished in the music industry. So
yeah.
she probably don't just go to any event. It's probably something that's got to be pretty prestigious. So,
But she just had her big birthday bash in Deep Ellum, and it sell out every year. And
oh
she like
yeah,
she Deep Ellum is the spot that you most likely would see her
I used to
or White
do it.
Rock.
Yeah, White Rock. I could see that. I used to do a lot of shows in Deep Ellum way back, way back.
Yeah.
But it's changed so much. I ain't been out there in a minute.
Yeah, Deep Ellum has changed a lot. My first concert was in Deep Ellum and it was sold out, but the club is closed down now. Like, so it's like, dang.
Which spot was that?
It was the house club. Curtain Club was one of them. You know the
Ah,
one with the
yeah,
double
yeah.
decker on
Curtain
the
Club.
versus.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
done. That's where.
it was right. It's on Main Street, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yep. But it's
Wow,
I think a Chinese spot now. So
man. Yeah, Curtain Club. I did a lot of shows there. They used to have this like festival out there.
yeah,
Um, the Dallas Music Festival, I think it was called, and it would run all weekend, and it would just get acts from all over.
yeah.
But ever since COVID, they kind of pulled back on a lot of those events, and they ain't never came back. So hopefully they will. What kind of shout outs do you have?
Dang,
Anybody?
I feel like I would just like to shout out the producers that I work with, Falcon Kid, which has been a big inspiration. He's from Russia. He introduced me to a lot of producers that was on the project. Oh, what a strange place. Ditto from France. That's my homie. We've been working together a long time. Oh, Okalo is the one who produced Deep Cleanse. He's from Russia. Shout out to
Okay.
him and all the engineers and producers. Like I say, I wrote all the songs, so I don't really have any songwriters, but as producers, engineers, and fans. And thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. What I want to ask before we go for the show is, you do all your recording like in house or you go to a studio?
Oh no, it's a process. So first I'll start out in my project studio, which is here. Then I'll take it to like a bigger demo studio and then we'll take it to Studio A. So by the time the project hits Studio A, it's already written, it's been demoed. We just creating art. We
Going
just
through the
perfecting.
steps,
So
yeah.
so yeah, it probably would take me like I feel like a good 4 or 5 months to write a song, but it might take me a year to fully record it if I'm not on a label or a timeline right now. I'm independent now, so but if I have a time,
Mm.
but I love to take my time.
Yeah, yeah. And with these producers, like, do they just send you like a zip file of beats and you go through it? Or that's how you
Oh
create
no,
them?
it really depends. So like I have some producers that be like, yo, I made this beat and I thought of you. But then I have some producers like on Deep Cleanse, Okalo, where we actually every sound that we use came from like a hike. I would record some of the sounds, I would send them to him and he would make it into a beat, or he would go
Wow.
hiking and like So it was very intricate. So we were working on Logic back and forth, but the final it was like a virtual thing, you know?
That's awesome. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, well, I definitely appreciate you, coming on the show and gracing us with your presence, man. And
I mean,
anytime if there's anything that I can do for you, if you want to come back on when you got another project, definitely would
yeah.
love to have you on the podcast. So
Yeah, thank you so much. You too. You never know. We might end up doing the festival together, Coachella. You
yeah,
never know.
yeah,
So
never know, never know,
you
never
never know.
know.
But yeah, thank you so much. And cool. I will be reaching out and I'm looking forward to new music. I saw you drop some new stuff too. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
I'm wrapping up an EP as we speak. I hope to have out in June or July, so we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, it's been another edition of the Major Music Lounge podcast, joined by Dizzy the Wizard. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, real quick, give your all your information. Like where can they follow you at online? Where can they
Yeah.
find your music?
I would say the best place to really kick it with me at is www.dizzythewizard.space. And it's like the portal that will lead you anywhere you want to go with me. So that's where I would say go. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah. And you can follow me on Instagram at d.majormusic, d._majormusic, and look for new episodes of the Major Music Lounge podcast every Friday on my YouTube. We got shows throughout May and starting on the June episode, so tune in for that. And until next time, we're out.
Major Music.